by now you must have understood what is action research, and if you have to carry out the action research, which steps to be followed must have been clear to you by now. Now, once you decide to take up the action research, then you should write a proposal, and you may send the proposal to different funding organizations such as NCERT or maybe NUPA. And if you have to write a proposal, let us understand today under which headings the proposal should be written. So, now today I will discuss the research proposal for action research. Now, in this I will tell you why research proposal is a must. Whenever you have to take up a research, a proposal has to be written. Next point is that what should be kept in the mind while writing the research proposal, and another is the format in which the research proposal is to be written. Now, we have to write the research proposal to make the action research systematic. You know that research has to be systematic in nature, and so the action research is also systematic. Now, to make it more systematic, it is very important to spell it out in a particular sequence what you want to do. Another is to make it focused, that if you do not have a proposal with you, then you may not be moving in a desirable direction. So, to give direction to the action research, it is must to have a proposal. Next is that to plan different activities. Whenever action research is to be undertaken, as a researcher you have to do different activities. You must know which activities are to be carried out while pursuing action research. You must know the sequence in which these activities are to be carried out. Next is to list barriers and ways to overcome. See, doing research is not easy, whether it is action research or even the ordinary research. Now, action research, whenever you are undertaking, you must think the different barriers, the different problems which you may encounter, and if those problems you face, how will you be overcoming? That is what you have to decide in advance. Another is to think of different interventions that you will like to try, and you have to select only one for conducting the action research. Once you decide a intervention, use it, complete the action research, then it is possible that next time you may improve upon that intervention, or you may try a new intervention, whereas the problem may remain the same. So, next is to decide the required material, because in the action research you do require some material. The material may be in the form of some of the tests that you want to have. It may be in the form of some audio visual material. It may be in the form of some print material. So, whatever is the requirement of conducting action research, you have to decide it in advance and get it ready. Another, to decide the time for the intervention and the whole action research. See, action research cannot continue for the whole life, it has to have a particular time. So, you have to decide that how long the treatment which you decide should continue. A treatment may continue for a month, it may continue even more than a month also, but there has to be a time limit, because if it is not done, then you will not be able to know the outcome of the action research. Next is that the proposal be written in the future tense. Whenever you are writing the proposal, it has to be in the future tense, because you will be doing the action research. Next is that it should be impersonalized. It means when you write the research proposal, you should not use the word I, we, he, she, etc., so that it becomes more objective. It should not be a subjective one. Then it should be concise, that the proposal has to be very, very concise. Then it should be self-explanatory. Anyone who reads the proposal should understand what exactly you have in your mind. Then one should write simple sentences. Some of the people are in a habit of writing complex sentences. It is advisable not to write complex, but to write simple sentences. In place of one complex sentence, it is better to write 2 simple sentences or more. Then only relevant information be given under appropriate headings. Whenever a proposal has to be written, there must be some headings, and these headings will be in a particular sequence, and when the proposal is to be written under those headings, then only give the relevant information. Do not give information which overlaps amongst the different heads. A repetition, if desired, then you may have that, but try to avoid that. Another is that it should provide direction in conducting action research. The person who is conducting the action research, he should know what to do next, and if that is done, then naturally you are proceeding systematically. Now, after having understood the different points to be kept in the mind, let us move on to the format in which the proposal is to be written. This format which now I am presenting to you may change. NCERT will have their own format, even the NUPA may have their own format. So, first you should see the format which the funding agency have on their website, and then try to write the proposal using that format. But the information which now I will give you, mostly that information will be required, little bit sequencing may differ. So, first of all, one has to say write the title, this is important. Next, one is to write the objective or objectives. Next, one should give information with respect to the sample or the group which is to be taken for the action research. Next, which tools to be used, the details of the tools should be given, so that the person who reviews the proposal sent by you can understand the suitability of the tools, the experimental designs, the procedure of data collection, the data analysis. Now, let us understand them one by one. The title of the action research, it should give information about the variable or the variables, the group or the sample and the type of the research. Many a times it is observed that the title written by the person for conducting the action research is incomplete. Sometimes the title does not include the variable. So, really it becomes very difficult to understand what the person wants to do. Now, here is a sample of the title of the action research. See this example, it is effectiveness of mathematics classwork in terms of achievement in mathematics of class 5th students of Central School number 1, New Delhi. In this particular title, you can see the word effectiveness is there. Now, effectiveness indicates that it has to be experimental in nature, and the target group is given here, it is class 5th students of Central School number 1, New Delhi. So, you know the which type of research it will be, you know your population and you know your variable. Here the variable is achievement in mathematics, and the treatment which as a researcher you have to give to the students is the class work. So, you have to think of the different class works that can be given. So, this is how a title for action research is to be written. Then next is you should write the objective or objectives, and this has to be written in the future tense, like the following will be the objective. Here for this title I have given one simple objective which may be changed. You may change the wording of the objective to compare mean scores of achievement in mathematics at pre and post stages of classwork group. Now, from this particular objective, you know what as a researcher you supposed to do, that you have to have the scores related to the achievement in mathematics, and it has to be before the classwork is given and after the classwork. Now, after having written the objective, you should give information in respect of the sample or the group on which the action research has to be conducted. If you read the title of this particular action research, you can find from the title that class 5th students of Central School number 1, New Delhi are to be taken. So, you have to go to the Central School number 1, New Delhi, and take the students as they are available in that particular section. So, it is a intact group that has to be taken. Then another is that take those students in which you want to see the change. Sometime you may like to take all students of that particular section. Sometime some of the students might have been much ahead of the other students, and therefore, you may like to give them some other type of activity, and you will like to try your new ideas only to those who do not come up to your expectation. So, in that case it is possible that you may not involve all students of that particular class, of that particular section. Next is the size of the group is not very important, whatever may be the size. Normally in the class, the total number of the students may be around 35 or at the most 50. Now, out of that it is possible that you may not like to take all students, because some of them have already come up to your expectation, and you will like to improve the performance of some of the students, and you may like to only involve those students in this particular action research. So, the choice is yours whether you want to take all the students of that section, or you want to take only those students who do not come up to your expectation. Next is the tools. Now, in this particular problem which I have stated and the objectives, you can see very well that as a researcher you have to collect data in respect of achievement test in mathematics. That means, you have to develop the achievement test in mathematics, and when you are developing the achievement test in mathematics, you have to decide the content which you have taken, related to which the class work was given. Only that content must be taken up for developing the achievement test. In this achievement test, you will have objective type questions related to the content that is covered under the class work. Please understand, you should not write only 5 questions or 6 questions. Try to cover the complete content that you have undertaken for the class work, and you may write the objective type of questions, but these objective type of questions should be such so that the students can recall some of the informations to give the correct answer. The students should be able to understand to give the correct answers. So, it is important to write such type of questions, and you have to write some questions which will be of application type. So, this achievement test should be developed by the teacher who conducts the action research. Now, there is no limit on the questions, but complete content of class work be covered. There may not be any time limit in taking the test. You should ask all students to answer all the questions. So, therefore, the important is, it is not a achievement test of the normal type, because here you want to help the students to understand, and therefore, you have a very different achievement test. So, try to cover the content. Now, apart from the achievement test, you may try to have some interview schedule, and this interview schedule may be structured interview schedule, which you may like to use in order to interact with the students. The teacher should analyze the class work to get better insight into the mistakes of the students. Another is that observation schedule may be developed and used for collecting the data while students do class work. The whole idea is that do not leave any stone unturned. Try to have tool which will help you to give the maximum information related to the class work which the students are doing. Once you have decided the tool, then you have to decide the design. See, experimental design may be a new name, may be a name which you might have heard, but may not be knowing. Do not worry much about it, but you should know that action research is really experimental in nature. It is not survey type. So, when you do experiment, then we must know what treatment is to be given, we must know when to test whatever the variable that we want to have. Now, in this particular case, if you see the objective, then you can find out yourself that in the objective it is written pre-test and post-test. So, therefore, technically the experimental design that you have to use in conducting this action research is pre-test, post-test, single group design. This is self evident, this is self explanatory. You know that there has to be a group, and this group is a intact group which you have to take from the class, and after taking that, then you should administer the test which you have already understood, and after administering the test, then you can score it. Now, these scores will be the pre-test scores. Now, you give the classwork to this group, and this classwork has to continue, and this classwork will be the intervention, or this classwork will be the treatment. Now, how long this interview should continue has to be decided by the teacher who is conducting the action research. This intervention actually should not be of a short duration, because in education the intervention is like a homeopathy medicine, it is not allopathy. Homeopathy means that the medicine has to be taken for a longer time to see its effect. In the same way that if you ask the student to do the classwork only for a short duration, say for 5 days or 6 days, you may really not be able to see whether really this classwork has helped the students in improving their understanding of the content or not. So, the treatment or the intervention should continue for 1 month or so. 1 month I am just suggesting, if you want you can have even more than 1 month, do not try to have of a short period. Now, these details which